Okay, for today's topic, we will discuss about expansion of polynomial products. When we take in mind this formula, so first we have a raised to the m times a raised to the n. The m and n here refers to the exponent, and a here refers to the term. It's either a variable or maybe a number. So if you multiply those same bases with different integers, the result will become the base raised to the integer of this one plus the integer of the other one. So let's say we have a raised to 2 times a raised to 3. It becomes a 2 plus 3. So final answer is a raised to the 5. Okay, so second formula we have if a raised to the m divided by a raised to the n, then that's the opposite for the first formula. It will become a raised to the m minus n. Also, the a raised to the m divided by a raised to the n here can be also written as this. So, if a raised to the m divided by or all over a raised to the n, then the result will also be the same. A raised to the m divided by, and what is the integer or the exponent on the denominator. The third formula here is that when a raised to the m, its own exponent, will be raised to another power, then the result will become a, or the term raised to its own exponent multiplied to the power that is embedded to it. So let's say we have a raised to the 3, then you raise it by 2, then it becomes a raised to the 3 times 2, or a raised to the 6. Also, we have here at the fourth formula wherein we have two terms, which is a and b. And if both of them will be raised to a specific exponent here, then you need to distribute that exponent on each one of the terms. So a raised to the m and a and b raised to the m. And the last formula that we have here is also the same thing like the fourth formula. However, it is on the fraction format. So we have a divided by b, then both of them will be raised to m, then also distribute the exponent on each one of the terms. So we have now a raised to the m divided by b raised to the m. And also, if the terms inside have its own exponent, like for example, we have here in the numerator that our a has an exponent of n, and on the denominator that our a has an exponent of p. So if we both raise them in a power of m, then we need to multiply this m to each one of these exponents. So the result will become a raised to the n multiplied to m all over a raised to the p multiplied to m. Okay, so we have here an example. So first we have a raised to the 2, then again raised to the power of 7. So following this formula on this here, the third formula, we have a raised to the n, also raised to the m is equals to a raised to the n times m. So applying this formula, we have a raised to the 2 times 7. It becomes a raised to the 14. Second example, we have 5ab squared c raised to the 3, then all of them will be raised to the power of 2. So we need to distribute this power of 2 in each one of them. So it will become 5 raised to the 2, a raised to the 2, b squared raised to the 2, and c cubed raised to the 2. So 5 squared is 25. A squared is a times 1 times 2, which is 2. So b squared raised to the squared is 2b raised to the 2 times 2. And c cubed raised to the 2 is c raised to the 3 times 2. So let's simplify. The result is 25. We copy this. Then b raised to the 2 times 2 is equals to b raised to the 4. And c raised to the 3 times 2 is c raised to the 6. Third example, we have here negative 2 a cubed b times c raised to the 4. So again, let's distribute this power of 3 here in each one of them. So negative 2 raised to the 3 times a raised to the 3, and again raised to the 3 times b raised to the 3, then c raised to the 4 raised to the 3. So negative 2 raised to the 3 is, first let's deal with its sign. So negative times negative times negative. You multiply it by 3 times. Negative times negative is positive. But since we also multiply another negative, so positive times negative, the result will become negative. So this one is negative, and 2 cubed is 2 times 2 is 4. Another 2 is equals to 8. So a cubed raised to the 3 is a raised to the 3 times 3. Then b raised to the 3 is already b raised to the 3. Then c raised to the 4 raised to another 3 is c raised to the 4 times 3. So let's simplify. Negative 8, a raised to the 3 times 3 is 9. Then b raised to the 3. Then c raised to the 4 times 3 is 12. So this is your final answer. We also have another example here. We have 5a squared b times 2ab raised to the 4th. So we must first multiply their coefficient. So 5 times 2. And also let's multiply this terms right here. So keep in mind that if we have a raised to the n, this one is another exponent, then multiply to term that has its own also exponent, then it will become a raised to the n plus m. So if we follow this formula and apply to our example, we have a raised to the 2 times a, or raised to the 1, it will become a raised to the 2 plus 1. So it will become a raised to the 3. So this one will become a raised to the 2 plus 1. Then for b, we have b raised to the 1 plus the exponent of the other term, which is 4. So plus 4. So let's simplify. 5 times 2 is 10. Then a raised to the 2 plus 1 is 3. Times b raised to the 1 plus 4 is b raised to the 5. So this is your final answer. So let's try much more complex example. Let's say we have here negative 4ab multiply to the power inside the negative 1 half ab raised to the 2. So we have negative 4ab. And this power of the 2 here, let's distribute it inside here. So we have negative 1 half raised to the 2, then a raised to the 2, then b squared raised to the 2. So we have negative 4ab. Let's just copy this first. Negative squared is positive. So since this format, we can follow the formula, which is a over b raised to the m is also equals to a raised to the m over b raised to the n. So we have 1 squared over 2 squared, yeah, times a squared, which is a squared, times b squared raised to the 2 is b, and 2 times 2, so it will become raised to the 4 and close bracket. So let's simplify. Negative 4ab inside 1 squared is 1, all over 2 squared is 4, then multiply to a squared, then b raised to the 4. So we have negative 4ab times 1 times a squared times b squared is a squared, b raised to the 4, all over 4, there. So let's multiply this here. So we have negative 4a times a squared, also we multiply b times b raised to the 4 divided by 4. So this one will cancel out. So it will cancel out. What's left in the numerator is negative. Then a raised to the 2 is like a 1 plus 2. So it becomes a raised to the 3. Then b times b raised to the 4 is like b raised to 1 plus 4. So it becomes b raised to the 5. So this is the final answer. Oh, I forgot about this kind of question. So let's say we have a raised to the 7 divided by a raised to the 5. So if we have this, we can follow the format or the formula, which is a raised to the m divided by a raised to the n is equals to a raised to the m minus n. So if we base here on our example, it will become a raised to the 7 minus 5. So this one will become a raised to the 2. Okay, we also have another example here, which is much more complex. So we have 2 over 5 x squared y squared divided by 4 over 15 x raised to the 4 y raised to the 7 times 5 over 3 x squared y cubed. The first step that we can do here is to rearrange first the equation. So we have 2x squared y squared all over 5 divided by 4x raised to the 4 y raised to the 7 over 15 times 5x raised to the squared y cubed all over 3. So we need to change this division into multiplication. So let's copy this first. So if I change this into multiplication, this here, at the right part of the division symbol, will be reciprocated. So the 4x raised to the 4 y raised to the 7 will go at the denominator, and the 15, which is originally located at the denominator, will go up to your numerator. And this, let's just copy this one. Then let's find a way to cancel out so that it will be easy for us to simplify. So we have here 5 and 15. So since 5 and 15 is divisible by 5, then 5 divided by 5 is 1. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. We also have here 2 and 4. Both of them is divisible by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. We also have here 3 and another 3. So both of them is divided by 3. So 3 divided by 3 will become 1. And 3 divided by 3 will become 1. So what's left us is this x squared, y squared all over 1 times 1 over 2 x raised to the 4 y raised to the 7 multiply again to 5x squared y cubed all over 1. So let's multiply all their numerators together and also all their denominators together. So we have x squared y squared times 5x squared y cubed all over 1 times 2x raised to the 4 times y raised to the 7 is still this, and also multiplied to 1 is still this. So your denominator will become 2x raised to the 4 y raised to the 7. So let's multiply those terms at the numerator. We have coefficient here which is 1. So 1 times 5 is 1. And x squared times x squared is like x raised to the 2 plus 2. Then we have y squared times y raised to the 3 is like y raised to the 2 plus 3 all over 2x raised to the 4 y raised to the 7. So we have our now numerator is 5x raised to the 4 and y raised to the 5 divided by 2x raised to the 4 and y raised to the 7. So we have both our numerator and denominator x raised to the 4. So let's cancel out. And on the numerator, we have y raised to the 5. And on our denominator, we have y raised to the 7. So 7 minus 5 is equals to 2. But since we have our denominator higher than our numerator in terms of exponent, therefore the 2 remains on the denominator. So let's just copy the 5 over 2. Then on our denominator, we have y raised to the 2. So another explanation about the cancellation or subtraction of the exponent is that, let's say we have a raised to the 5 all over a raised to the 3. You can also write this down as in a form of a times a times a times a times a 5 times all over a times a times a. So we have 3a's at the denominator and 5a's at the numerator. So let's cancel out a here, a here. So let's cancel out here, here, here. So what's left is 2a's at the numerator and none at the denominator. So we have a times a, so we have 2a's, so we can write this as a raised to the 2. So I have here a challenge left for you, which, okay, hold on, good. So I have a challenge here that I left in each one of you, in which you need to find the simplest form for this. So we have 2/3 of a raised to the 4, b raised to the 4 times negative 3a squared b divided by 1/4 a raised to the 5 times b raised to the 7. You can comment down your answer for this. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help each other learn and grow. You can also book a private session at PrepLine. Link is in the description.